I love my diesel Golf, and I'm sure you love your Volkswagen diesel as well. And today I'm going to show you why your power is draining after you did the swap. Okay, so check this out. As you can see, we got two fuel lines here and two evap lines here. All four of these lines here are made out of the same material, by the way. This used to be a 2001 Volkswagen Golf 2.0 automatic, but now it's still a 2001, but it put an ALH motor into it. So after the swap was complete, I was extremely happy that I got everything working and registered, but I still had an issue. The battery would die ever so often. And I found out that I had a code using VCDS called 18009, Relay for Supply Voltage Terminal 30, Implausible Signal P1601. So I did a whole bunch of research on why I was having this code, and I just could not figure it out, where it was coming from, what it even meant. And it didn't even show up in my OBD2. So I was able to pass smog, and that was that. I forgot about it. But the battery still died. Oh my goodness. I had this little baby in there, and it would probably last for 2 days if I left it without driving. Then I switched over to this guy. Probably lasted 3 or 4 days. So I got a little bigger one. This thing barely lasts 5 days. If I leave the car in the garage, everything plugged in, and just turn it off and just turn on the alarm, it will still die. It won't even start. So I got tired of this 10mm wrench because everywhere I went, I had to use it in order to take this clamp off so my car wouldn't die. I decided to get to the bottom of this parasitic draw and hooked up my digital multimeter through the amp setting onto the positive side. So as you can see here, this lead right here is my positive lead, and from the battery itself is my negative lead. Everything else is unplugged. I unplugged all of these one by one until I found out that it was coming from here. Ooh. I even unplugged the alternator. Then I went into the cabin, since obviously that's where it leads to. As you can see, it's on. Took out the notorious radio that has these same problems. Made sure these doors are locked. The alarm is on. Waited about, 20 minutes before doing this job. Took out the amp. Took out the CD changer. Just the things that I knew. And then started messing with these fuses. As you can see, 0.08. That very small drain. But if you think about it, in about a week, the battery would die. If you're driving this car every day, you wouldn't even notice that you're having this issue. But like me, I do leave this car sometimes and use a different one, and that's why I rather actually have it fixed. And as recommended, you have to start removing these fuses. And one by one, I started removing all these fuses until I got to this one right here. Here we go. We're going to take this out. Oh! Bam. Geez, oh, see that? This fuse. And that just happens to be the number 10 fuse. So I did some digging around on the Volkswagen forums, and all I did was Google how much is too much parasitic draw VW Jetta. And on VW Vortex, which is the name of the forum, I found out that the parasitic draw is related to the fuse number 10, especially if you did a swap. There was someone there claiming that they had the same exact issue after doing a swap. And so pretty much what they are saying is that the fuse 10 is what powers the ECU. And it's supposed to be getting that power from the 109 relay. And so if you're doing the swap, that connection is always going to have constant power. And so your terminal 10 is always hot whether you shut the car off, lock it, or not. And it's always powering the ECU. And that's what's draining the power. Ooh. So right away, I couldn't believe it's not butter, and I plugged in my positive terminal to my digital multimeter, take off my negative terminal, and have the other lead right here where the fuse number 10 is. And let's just check this out. You hear that? That is ridiculous. That means it always has power. I took out everything down here to get to this fuse panel number 10. This side right here is positive constant. This side right here is the side that goes to the ECU. So technically, if we hook this jumper cable from there and run it to the 109 relay, which would be the blue one, because when the ignition activates, the blue one has signal, you should be able to start the car, and it should sound just fine. You see? Listen to it. Sounds good, right? And let's take this out. You hear that? It's as if it's misfiring or something. So now you know that that's how it's supposed to be. So now that the jumper cable is in place and the car is armed and it has been on for about 15 to 20 minutes, the DMM is showing a range of 1 and 2, vice versa. Before we had a range between 8 and 9. So this is significantly less, and this is what I want the draw to be for my car. So let's make that happen. So check this out. I put everything back together, hooked all the things that I unplugged, including the radio, CD changer, and the amplifier. Clean this mess up a little bit. Let's lock the car. See how much current we're drawing. Ooh! There you go. Now that's what I'm talking about. This is more acceptable than what I had before. And if you found this tutorial useful, please like and subscribe.